Welcome to Hermit Woods, where there's a story in every bottle.
Are we live? You just pointed.
Are we live?
Are we live?
Are we live?
We're live?
Hey, everybody.
Everybody, let us know if we're live.
We got 10 people there watching us live right now.
It's
live.
how do we know that it's live?
I can see it right here.
You can see it, but I can't see it.
Yeah.
We're
Hi, folks. We're live.
We have a live audience.
We're live and we're really alive.
Yes, we're really alive. And we have a lot.
Somebody turned the summer switch on today, and all of a sudden it's summer.
Right? I know you're in shorts. Oh no, you're not in shorts anymore.
I had to dress up for the show.
You're behind the bar.
No.
You could have had in shorts.
Hi, everyone.
So hi, everyone. Welcome. And Chuck is joining us. He's right over there.
And
He is wearing shorts.
He's taking care of our glasses.
You're on the
tonight.
microphone still, Chuck, just so you know.
Oh, no. Bad news. We're in trouble tonight. This is going well already.
Wow. You know, the nice thing.
Yeah.
in front of
Here,
us.
look, let's
Yes.
show it. Yes. Look
Look
at
at
that.
Look at that.
And there's one missing, right?
Yes, there's going to be another one in the same sort of packaging. So you will have 6 cider-like products in a classic Belgian bottle with a cork and wire closure.
That's great. So we're going to taste that tonight? We have a version.
We are. It's
right here. Oh, look at that. It's in a soda bottle.
It's in a soda stream bottle. It just came off the bright tank. It's cold and it's been carbonated, and I'm waiting for the shipment of bottles. It should be in tomorrow or the next day. So it's getting bottled this week.
Why are you echoing?
Oh, we're going to turn this down here. Here we go. Is that better? Are we still echoing?
I kind of like the echo. I think it was usually the
I
phone
think
that
it was the phone.
Yeah,
I
think
think
that's
we're in
what
good
that-
shape now.
Good.
Thank you, Marika.
I don't hear the echo.
So let's just first welcome everybody. Thank you again for joining us on yet another Monday. This has been a great journey. It's really fun to hang out with all of you folks every Monday, and I hope we have some new people here as well. And if we do, a couple things about our broadcast. We broadcast every Monday at 5:30, and we're building a schedule. If you go on our website and you go to the Facebook Live under the event page, you can learn all about our schedule.
Yeah, I learned about it this morning.
I know. See, we're getting it. We're getting there. It's
I
actually
learned about
getting
the
it.
schedule this morning.
6:45.
I look at that.
Yeah, so-
look at that. Yeah.
So you can go and learn about everything that we're doing in advance. So if you have a topic area that you're really interested in, you can tune in. So every Monday at 5:30, and every third Monday, which is what we're at right now, we do a broadcast. We do a live tasting, which will allow you at home, if you like, to join in. We've posted the wines that we'll be tasting for the next.
So the way
4
that
months.
works is that people out there can look at the calendar and say, oh, on July 16th, you're going to be tasting Red Scare and Elderberry or
Right.
something. And they can get those bottles and sip those bottles along with us.
Yes,
at the same time.
and live comments and
Oh,
interaction, and so it's a great
So
opportunity.
this is once a month.
Once a month, the third Monday of every month
You go to
now.
hermitwoods.com and
Yep.
go to what section?
Go to the virtual, the events page, and then Facebook
Events.
Live virtual tastings.
event/virtualtastings.hermitwoods.com.
Yeah, something like that, Chuck.
Yeah,
We'll,
like
we
that.
won't. We won't.
I think the hermitwoods.com
Don't
comes
don't
first.
count us on that. Yeah, don't worry about that. Nonetheless, if you can't find it, just let us know. We'll be happy to
That's
tell
like
you where it
computer
is.
literate, you know, like
Yeah.
my cousin in Minnesota or
Yeah.
something.
So
I
So you-
have a situation here.
Yeah.
well, you take care of that.
It's always
So
a problem.
while he's taking care of the situation, which is always a problem in the beginning of this broadcast, making
What
sure
should we
there's
start with?
Cider.
Cider. This is
I'm
a
definitely
cider
going
day.
to start with cider.
So before we get into the details, please, if you
keep
have any
talking.
comments or questions, just let us know. We can see there's already a bunch of comments and questions. Thank you guys for being here. I want to say hello to, again, some of our regulars. Priscilla, thanks for joining us again. Gary, of course, is here, and Jen Eaton, and let's see, Judy's here, and Matt, of course. And boy, I can't wait to Matt, you are the
bicycle
champ.
guy.
We're gonna have to build like a temple to Matt.
I know.
A bicycle temple.
A bicycle temple.
Yeah, so all of our...
I'm opening 2.
Oh, okay.
There's
good.
so much conversation going on. I'm getting really
Well, just
thirsty.
pour, so I can finish the conversation. And then we
you
can
keep
drink.
going.
So great. Thanks to everybody for joining us. And the other thing I wanted to tell you, if you are new to this broadcast, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to our page, our YouTube page, or subscribe to our Facebook Live links so that you can be notified whenever we go live on these Monday afternoons. So
Can I ask a question?
yeah,
Why are we still echoing? Gary Parker says we're echoing.
we're still echoing, Gary?
Yeah. Thank you, Gary, for that.
Is it your microphone? Are you on? Is your speaker up?
No.
No? How about
my
Marika's?
volume's off.
How about our live audience?
But it would have to be a speaker coming into this system.
Yeah, I don't know.
In this room.
Yeah. And going into is your computer audio off? Your MacBook Pro? I can hear it right now.
You can hear the echo?
I can hear the echo. Yeah. Echo, echo, echo.
Echo.
How's that? Is that better? Oh,
It's definitely better, guys.
Okay.
We have cider in our glasses.
What do we have here while Bob works on the technical
Yes.
bit?
So in your glass on the left is our classic original hard cider. Heirloom apples.
Firewood and kittens? Or
Firewood and kittens.
Firewood and kittens.
I just call this kittens.
Kittens. It's
Yeah,
called
this is called kittens.
Yes.
So let's start before we get into drinking. And if there's an
let's
echo,
just-
Let's just
And then
start.
start.
Okay, here we go.
Cheers.
cheers. Okay. See, but trying to keep order with this crowd is not easy.
Have you ever tried to hurt cats?
Hmm.
This is like hurting kittens.
Speaking of cats,
Jesus, I thought you had something you needed to say.
I do. This is a
It's
wine
fine.
tasting.
I just wanted to make sure we had something in our glass.
This is
Please
very
proceed.
serious. Yes.
Let's get this organized.
Okay, this is a wine tasting. We're going to taste our ciders this evening. We're going to taste the every single available cider at Hermit Woods tonight. And so we're going to go one at a time. And what we're first going to do is introduce each cider, let you know a little bit about its background. So you've poured the first 2. So let's talk about Firewood and Kittens. Where did that come from?
You know, I just got a Facebook reminder 2 days ago that I had posted a picture about this 6 years ago for the first time. No, 5 years ago for the first time. It was 2016.
So that's when it was released.
And that's when it was released for the very first time.
So this is our first cider.
So this is our first cider, our one and only that year. So we just had this one cider. And this really came out of our love of apples and hard cider and the history of this region. And we have been making hard cider for a long time with our friends the Zimmers and others, picking our apples from our trees, our neighbors' trees, other people's trees, and grinding those and crushing them up, and dogs and kids, and just a wonderful afternoon running the apple press and making cider. It was great. Yeah. And so we finally got the opportunity to bring this to the public commercially here at Hermit Woods in 2016. And that's when we reached out to Deb Lucky for the label.
So Deb Lucky
was really great.
Deb Lucky used to work for my father, actually, as an illustrator. And she met me at an event at one point and said, you know, she always wanted to design a label for a wine bottle. And when we decided to release a cider, I knew what Deb's style was. And I said, Deb, you gotta...
She came in for like, oh, you guys opened up a winery. I've always wanted to do beer labels. And you're like, well, we already have some wine.
It was originally wine labels.
Well, it was wine.
Yeah, she originally wanted to do a wine label.
I thought it was beer.
But I really felt like her style lent itself to our cider. So we invited her in, and it has beautifully. So she came up with this design and the idea of firewood and kittens for sale. She wrote that as well. And that's sort of going along with the idea of you drive along the back roads of New Hampshire and you see what might be a hermit's homestead. Yeah. And you see signs on the trees, firewood for sale, or kittens, or whatever. And so that's what she imagined in her head, is that our hermit would have firewood and kittens for sale. And so she put it on the label, and there's a story on the back, which is fun. You should read if you ever get
She's
this
really
one.
created a persona.
She
now.
has.
To,
Yes.
to me, I mean, I think about
I
the
know.
Hermit
Joseph.
through the stories on the back of these labels.
Exactly.
And there's 2 more now. So we have 6 little stories
We're gonna have a book
about
soon.
the Hermit.
Yeah.
And it's really fun.
Maybe we Deborah could write the book.
Yeah.
The
It could
book.
be a children's story about drinking cider. Oh no.
Nice.
How come I
Nice
try.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So before we make the children's story about cider, our first, when we released this, we decided it was really critical to make the because she put Firewood and Kittens for sale on here, so we decided to make a percentage of the sale of this available to the Humane Society.
Right now.
So 5% of the sale of this product goes to help fund the Humane Society. And also, when we released this the first time, we actually had a big event where we had Firewood and Kittens for sale.
I brought firewood from my from my woodlot
I know.
and put them out there on the deck. Nobody bought any wood.
We didn't sell
Nobody bought any
stick
wood.
of firewood.
I
always-
looked at it. I thought it was a little overpriced.
But we
Come on.
we did find homes for about 10 kittens. that
I know,
day.
it was great.
It was
And
great.
we've had a few events with the Humane Society here with cats and kittens for adoption.
And we're going to do it again.
Now that the pandemic
Now
is
that the pandemic is going away,
behind, yes, we can do that
need to
again.
do this again.
Yeah.
It's going to be very exciting.
It's really great.
And so this is our first classic cider. So tell us about this cider before we sip it, and
So-
then why you're comparing it to this other
So
one.
it's really interesting. The historic background here for people. A lot of us growing up, I know I did in California back in the 70s and 80s, when I would go to the store and buy an apple, I just bought an apple for eating.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about. Most apples are for eating. That's what I grew up learning about.
What about pie?
Or for pie.
Okay.
Apple
Right.
pie,
Eating a pie.
applesauce, or
Applesauce.
apples. But that's it.
about it. Yeah.
So
Well,
I
cider.
didn't really
Sweet cider.
know, and sweet cider.
Yeah.
Sweet apples, apple juice.
Well, then apple juice.
Apple juice.
There's quite a bit of apple.
So there's apple stuff. Okay, so that's what I grew up with. But thanks for trying to derail me.
Hurting
That's
kittens.
like 10 or 15 or 20 different varieties of apples that are used for all of that. Red Delicious, Macintosh, Granny Smith, blah blah blah. But historically, there are thousands of types of apples
7.
that are grown. 7,000.
That's the number. Yeah.
7,000. There are 7,000
Historically.
varieties historically.
Not currently.
And there's a whole bunch of wild variants, of course, that happen because the seed of an apple doesn't actually grow the same type of tree that it came from,
Right.
which is
Confusing.
bizarre.
Crazy.
Really crazy.
I'll never understand that.
No, understand that. You know, it's a weird system. But that's the way it works. And historically, in New England, when people came here and they were settling the area, they planted apple trees, not for eating or applesauce or pies. They probably did that a little bit, but mostly what they planted apples for was this, for making hard cider.
Was that
Firewood
where
and
the
Kittens?
Johnny Appleseed story?
Johnny
comes
Appleseed
from?
going up the Ohio River Valley. Same thing. He was there and spreading these trees, these saplings that would grow these great apples
So he wasn't
for making
using
hard
seeds
cider.
then, was he? Because then he would have no control over the
Correct. It's
species,
all
right?
grafting.
So it's all grafting. So Johnny Appleseed should be Johnny Apple
Grafter.
Actually, I would dispute that
Graft.
because Johnny Appleseed was just spreading apples. He didn't necessarily care what variety or flavor of apple. He was just spreading apples. You can plant.
I don't know.
apple
He
seeds.
may have been spreading specific trees.
Well, here we go. If you
Like
if you
lots-
have
if
insight,
If you
on
know the Johnny
Apple
Appleseed
Johnny
story.
Apple grafter.
you know, you would
I
think that,
he's
you know,
grafter.
you would
He's
think
a
that there would be a
cedar,
name of
or
a
near
tree,
cedar.
of an apple tree after him, but there isn't. There's Roxbury Russet.
Right, so
There's
what's up with that?
there's Kingston Black. There's Ellis Bitter. There's all sorts of.
Isn't there a
various
Johnny
names.
Seed Company?
There is
That's
a Johnny
separate.
Seed Company.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So we
this
digress again, I'm
this
sorry.
cider is made in a fashion that is probably what people did here in the 1700s and 1800s. So they use what are classes of apples that are called sharps and bitters, and those apples aren't very good for eating. They don't taste that great. A lot of them have thick skins. They don't
Bitter?
seem sweet. They actually can have a higher sugar content than our modern
Like Bardogo.
apples. Like our Red Delicious has a lower sugar content than a Dolgo, but it doesn't
Lower
taste like it
acidity.
because Red Delicious doesn't have much acidity.
Yeah.
So you get all that sweet sugar. A Dolgo crabapple is loaded with sugar, but it doesn't seem like it because your mouth puckers up with all that sweetness or all that acidity, and then it has those thick skins for all that tannins. So there's a wide variety of heirloom cider apples that go into this. Chuck Souther of Apple Hill Farm, just outside of Concord, grows a wide variety of these ancient heirloom cider apples. And he picks and grinds up a blend of those historic apples and creates this wonderful cider. I modify it a little bit. I also take some Kingston Black apples. I take some pears from my backyard. I take some Dolgo crab apples and add those into the cider. So I have the pressed cider, the juice, if you will, from Apple Hill Farm. And then I take these other apples and grind them up and chop them and throw them into the cider.
Because you get some
together.
skin contact.
So I get more skin contact time. That's what I'm after. Thinking along the lines of a red wine.
Right.
And all of the wines that we make here, we really want to engage the whole fruit, all of the components that are there. It makes something of a richer, more complex variety. So that's our Firewood and Kittens cider, and that's the first one we came out with. We've been running it ever since, and we'll continue to do so. A year or two later, I think 2017 was the first vintage of this. This is our Heirloom Hard Cider Reserve, and that's in the glass to the right. So you get to try these side by side. It's the exact same blend. You already finished yours?
So Bob, so this is a wine tasting. People at home have purchased these bottles. Are they allowed to drink now, or are they supposed to listen to us pontificate?
If I were them, I'd be opening these bottles and drinking.
Yeah, okay.
So you can do
feel
both.
Feel free to pour yourself 2 glasses, one with Firewood and Kittens and then with Hard Cider Reserve,
Right.
and compare and contrast.
Right.
The difference is going to be what?
Whatever you taste. That's going to be the difference.
But the difference in how you made them is...
Well, the difference in how they're made, it's the same cuvee, the same blend of cider and apples and things that were fermented together. But the Reserve was in part fermented in an actual barrel, a wine barrel. And then as soon as all the fermentation was done, all of the Reserve was put into French oak wine barrels and stored there for a couple of months.
Oh.
And so what it does, the barrels, like it does for any wine, they breathe. So they provide this micro-oxygenation that helps the structure and character of the wine or cider or mead develop, or beer, if there's beer in it. But the other thing that it does is it provides some flavors from what was previously in the barrel. And I don't know specifically in this vintage. This is a 2019 that we're drinking right here. But probably something like our Red Scare or Petite Blue Reserve or something like that was in the barrel beforehand. So what do you think is the difference between the two?
Well, my first faux pas is that as I'm getting aromatics, all I smell is chlorine because I was cleaning my hot tub and I used a chlorine
All right,
solution.
I'll drink yours.
And so I smelled this chlorine. It's like,
Go wash your hands.
You're not helping.
Hold it like this.
We're doing a wine tasting.
Hold it
We're
like
smelling
this.
chlorine.
I know, I washed it and washed. So note to those at home, don't clean your hot tub before a wine tasting. Words of advice.
You know, that's a bigger point for people who are focused on the details of food or beverage, and you're really trying to dial in on the aromas and the flavors. You don't want to have other aromas on your hands, perfumes or soaps.
Yeah,
you don't want to have people standing in the background smoking or cooking bacon or something like that, because those smells and aromas are going to overwhelm your inputs.
Yeah, body sprays and everything else. You want everything to be as neutral as possible. But what I will say is I mean, the difference between the two is really noticeable. And I was drinking this as we were talking about the barrel aging. And what I really like about the Reserve is that it has this really nice rounded, smooth softness. And then it has that maybe the tannin structure that doesn't exist in the other one, that might be something extracted from the barrel. But it has that, whatever it is, the charcoal, or there's something about a mellowing of a wine in a barrel or a cider that I really like. And I like what it does to us. I don't like heavily oaked bourbon barrel kind of stuff.
It's not that way at all.
A vanilla oaky barrel.
Yeah.
This just tastes more appley, and you've hit it in a way that the flavors really balance, and you get a really nice apple, you get a nice mouth feel. It's really a special cider.
I still have an echo. I still hear an echo.
I still have an echo too.
Yeah.
Nobody hears an echo out there.
And for some reason,
Okay.
I can hear us. Why can I hear us? Why can I hear myself right now?
I can't turn the volume down on that anymore, but there is no echo according to our audience.
According to the audience.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
We're hearing it because
You can hear that,
you can hear
and
it.
it's a delay.
Okay. And it's slightly delayed. Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because one of my goals when I put this cider into barrel is so that it's not oaky.
Right.
So it only goes in for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something like that. It's just enough time for it to do what you just said, is that it smooths it out, rounds it, brings the aromas out. But you don't, if someone didn't tell you this went into a barrel, it's a barrel aged cider, you wouldn't actually know that probably.
It's subtle.
It's subtle.
Yeah. Right.
But it's an important difference, I think.
What I think most impressive is less about the difference between the two, but what I really enjoy about both of these ciders is they really reminisce of a classic dry cider that is harder to find in the U.S. It's more European that you would find a cider of this style. It tends to be, in my opinion, very often ciders are sweeter.
Yeah.
You know, Americans tend to grow up on Coca-Cola and sweet beverages, and we are addicted to sugar. So the cider industry has catered to that, and many of the national brand ciders out there are sweet.
Yeah.
And what I really enjoy about this, there's very little residual sugar in these. They're dry, they're light.
Actually.
Zero. There you go.
0 on both. Yeah.
And so they're just crushable for me. I could just keep drinking these because they're so light.
Is
and
Greg out
easy to
there? You
drink.
just said
Greg is
crushable.
out there. Uh-oh.
Good.
Yes, Greg.
He's waiting to
No.
taste and to see
Does
what
he taste every
what a
time somebody says
crushable
crushable?
wine is. He's like,
It's playing,
Ken, what is
it's
crushable?
playing Hi Bob. It's a secret drinking game that's gone viral on the internet.
Okay, good.
Because, Napa Cabernet or some big jammy West Coast red wine is not crushable.
No,
It's not
I
something.
wouldn't call
like
it crushable.
You want to sip it, you want to savor it, you want to have that meld with the food that you're eating or what have you. But these are in a different class altogether.
Well, I also feel like these need to be paid attention to. So if you're at a bonfire cookout and you just want to open a bottle of something and then chug a few ciders down and not think about it, this is probably not the cider for you, right? Because it's too
That would be
precious.
this one.
Right. So that one has a higher sugar content. The flavor knocks you on the head. We'll get to that.
We're gonna
a
get
little
that
bit
one
later. Yeah. So these are really special things, and I think that, and I don't know because I haven't talked to anybody about this, but I would think that the people that really appreciate them for how they stand up to, say, something that we hold as a standard when we started would be like Farnham Hill. Their
Right.
back door.
Absolutely.
I mean,
They
'cause he
make
started
fantastic,
making
beautiful ciders.
He's the reason there's these apples for us to make these ciders. What's his name?
Steve.
Yeah. It just has done so much to bring this style into the fold, and to the point where those of us who appreciate, getting to the flavor of the apples, and having the heirloom varieties available, it's really.
He was a pioneer, like some of the early pioneer brewers, like the guy at Anchor Steam out in San Francisco was making fine beers in the late 70s.
Yeah, no,
and, where they just didn't exist anywhere in this country.
I think that's important to note that Steve at Farnham Hill Cider has really created the demand for craft cider again in New England.
Yeah.
He started doing that, 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago.
Grows his own trees.
Yeah.
Just
And if you haven't had Farnham Hill Cider, it's widely available. You should get a bottle. It's really nice stuff.
Yeah. Remember that cider event we went to in Lancaster, Pennsylvania? It stayed on after the EWE one day, and
Oh, yes.
before we left,
Yes.
and we got to have some of those
Oh,
ciders
right.
from France and England.
Yeah.
They were like champagne. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
this is more like, and I think that's
Yeah.
what you're getting
Yeah,
at when
yeah.
you craft a fine cider from a variety of apples. You end up with something that drinks more like champagne. It's a more complex, interesting event type of thing than
Yeah,
just a sweet
Right.
cider.
Well, if you go into a store in Manhattan that has a big cider selection, they're going to have a bunch of Normandy, Brittany sort of ciders.
There you go.
A
Right.
lot of them are cloudy. They have maybe they just use the yeast that was on the fruit, and you get that sort of a bready,
Rustic.
you get a real yeasty, chewy kind of cider that's sweeter. And so it's a different, that to me is a whole nother different genre of cider that's interesting and different. I don't like it as much as this. I like the going to the more of the clean finish champagne. No, you don't get any yeastiness in this at all.
Yeah.
Right? It's just about the fruit. It's just about the freshness, the acidity. I mean, my mouth is still watering.
Right. Yeah, me
and
too.
I haven't had
Yeah.
any cider.
I like that it lingers because of that.
Yeah.
It lingers.
It's like
Yeah.
it lingers in your
It's
mouth.
long. Yeah. It's when we first made ciders in our backyards, and we didn't have filtration. And when we were here and we got set up with filtration, I did some tests on the ciders, whether to leave it raw, like Hermitage or Red Scare or something like that, not filter the wine.
Right.
But I found that putting this particular cider through filtration really elevates it. It brings out the apples more. It refines it. I really love the transition from I like the unfiltered product. It is more rich. It's more rustic. It's a little rougher. This is more refined and more delicate and more engaging. So I always filter it now.
Yeah.
I like the result a lot.
So let's move on. We got
Okay.
4 more ciders to do. So that was the reserve and the
kittens.
kittens.
Right.
And both classic dry ciders, crushable. There you go, Greg. Drink again. He said he was counting the seconds, by the way.
You know, this one probably.
Back then, it was mentioned haggis.
Yes.
Haggis.
Well, I mentioned what about that? He did mention haggis.
Yeah. So haggis.
With
acquired
haggis.
taste.
What is that? Well, never mind.
Yeah. So the Scottish and my Scottish
Yes.
ancestry were very frugal people and lived through some very hard times. So they invented food dishes made from
Every part
parts
that
of
you want
animals
to
that
use.
we don't generally eat.
I love that sound.
They put it into something or other that was probably an organ, and then they fill it with that.
It's like
some
sausage.
oatmeal to make it go longer, and then they cook it in the oven and celebrate it as a delicacy. It's an acquired taste.
So why does he mention it with what brought his attention to haggis?
Sure, with that.
Maybe consumed with cider.
Cider, yeah.
Yeah.
That's maybe
You know?
something. I think I would.
You're
do
gonna
a
have some
Scotch.
haggis. Have a bottle of cider.
Okay.
He says, yeah, Dolgo goes with haggis.
Dolgo goes with haggis.
All right.
There it is.
We have a live
Thank you-
audience
thank you,
here
Matt.
tonight, folks. Marika is
We do
here,
have a live-
sitting
this is our
across
first
from the
live audience.
camera. Yes.
Cheers, Marika.
Hi, Marika. If you want to bring a
We
glass
pay her
up and
well
try
for
on any of these as we go along, please help yourself.
Which one are you opening now?
So this one doesn't
Yeah.
have a label.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that
We're
one.
working on that, though,
I have
right?
no idea what's in here. It's going to wake up your mouth. I know that.
This is what we're drinking now.
This is what we're drinking now.
That's a horse with a different.
Why don't you scoot that over
clear.
there for
It's
her?
completely clear. Yes. There you go. Pour some for.
There you go.
So this is our new cider that we're releasing.
This is an amazing thing.
This
I
is
can't
a
wait
new
to-
cider.
yeah, can't wait
The
for this.
labels are
Label on that, everybody.
the labels are being
Forthcoming.
shipped to us today, and so they should arrive in the next couple of days.
And
the,
then-
the cider has already been bottled, so as soon as the labels show up,
We're going to
they'll
release
be
it.
on the shelf. So maybe Wednesday or Thursday.
Now, is this going to be club members only for the first 2 weeks?
That's marketing's department.
I think that's the plan, right? Club members only, right? First release of a new product.
Typically.
I think that's what we should do.
I get a lot of chlorine notes in this. Is that me?
Oh, here he goes again.
Here he goes again. There's no chlorine used at the winery. It's verboten. There's no chlorine around. Chlorine can have some bad interactions with wine and things like that. So no chlorine whatsoever. So that all came from your hot tub.
Banned from the
That all came from your hot tub.
How do I turn Chuck off here? Can I do that? No, I can't.
I can just yank the mic off of his.
Wait a minute, I can. There we go. Hi,
there you
Chuck.
go. Yeah. He's leaning over. He's leaning over on my microphone. So
What are we drinking?
So this is our newest release, which is a crabapple cider made with Dolgo crab apples from Stone Mountain Orchard, right down on 106.
Yeah.
We picked these apples
Remember that.
off of the trees that he planted for us.
Oh.
This is a great story.
I took a
Before you
bite
go
out.
any further,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is great. Stone Mountain.
Oh yeah.
They started an orchard, and we were desperately in need for more Dolgo fruit. And we saw this orchard starting, and we approached them and said, we really do need some crab apples. Would you be willing in your new orchard?
This was entirely for Heirloom Crabapple wine.
Right.
This had nothing to do with cider.
No, it was just, our crabapple wine, and I think you use it in some other things.
Well,
as
I use it in the kittens.
Yeah, in the
And in
kittens.
the reserve.
Anyway, without, we didn't have any agreement or just a verbal understanding. If you plant Dolgo trees in your new orchard, we will buy them from you. And we'll buy them from you as long as you grow them. And he did. He planted 75 trees for us. That's just fantastic. And now we, probably going to get 2,000 or 3,000 pounds from these 75 trees.
Right. Last year was not a good year for apples. Right. Apples come and go.
Yep.
And orchards do their best people that run orchards do their best to try to irrigate and prune and do all that stuff to try to level that out a little bit. But last year was not such a great year for apples. Right. So this year
should
probably
be a
going to be a
year.
Boomer.
Yeah. It's the same in the park. The crabapple tree down there only produces fruit
last year I didn't get anything.
Right. Nothing.
Those aren't pruned at all. So those really show the ebb and flow of apple production.
But support your local farmers. Stone Mountain Farm. They do you pick. It's a great farm. They have lots of different apples.
What are the name of Honey Crisp?
Honey Crisp. They're like
Honey
a
Crisp.
pound each.
Yeah, they're monster.
And they're delicious.
They make Harry and David apples look pale in comparison. I mean, these are monster, beautiful. Yeah. And the way he does his trellising, he actually grows his apples like grapes
on a vine.
Yeah, on a trellis. Like it's pick your own. So you get to go out there.
Yeah, you get to walk through
with nature and pick your own apples.
They
so
have
definitely head out there. It's loud.
Cider belly donuts. And
they got donuts.
And pumpkins and all that. So this is going to be a new release. And Deb,
is this 100% Dolgo?
So the way this is crafted, no, it's not. So the way this is crafted is I get a sweet cider pressed from Apple Hill Farm. So they take Macintosh and things like that, and they create a sweet cider. That's the same base for our cranberry cider and our blueberry cider and our rosé wine. So a sweet cider, great locally produced source of sugar and body and nutrition and all that goodness. And then what we did is to take the Dolgos that we picked from Stone Mountain, chop them up, and throw them into that sweet cider.
Whole fruit, with skins and all.
Skins, seeds. Sometimes there was a leaf or two that got in there, and a stem or two.
These, by the way, are the Dolgo.
You use the caterpillar removing tool though on all of them, so there's no caterpillars in there.
I cannot.
What? Wait. No.
There are no caterpillars.
There are no caterpillars.
There are no caterpillars.
Anyway, so, okay. All right, just checking. Thanks for that. So
what do you think?
All right. So
what's somewhat surprising to me is it's clear, and Dolgos create a red, orange, right? And it's not. It's clear. All the color just went away. I have no idea why.
Well, I think it's partly in the fact that, early on when we made our Heirloom Crabapple wine, you figured out early you had to add blueberry to keep some of the color there.
Yeah, but even if I don't add blueberries, I would still get color.
You'd
It
get
would just
some
go
color,
orange.
sure, but
It wouldn't
much
retain
higher
that.
percentage of crab apples.
Same percentage, actually.
No.
This is made with the same percentage, 3 pounds per gallon.
Oh,
Crab
gallon
apple.
of water versus
But I would
gallon
use
of
water and
cider.
sugar instead of cider.
That is very confusing.
It is very confusing. I love the biology of this
I
stuff.
don't know. So those of you at home, please pour. Oh, you
They
pour this.
can't. They couldn't buy it.
What? We're doing. We have.
We're doing a big
something.
tease. This is a big tease tonight.
Whoa! I don't. Who decided we were going to do this? This is cruel and unusual. So, but the good news is the labels are in the mail.
Yes, I
So you
know.
got to try this. So
That's
what it is like to take this and put it in your mouth? It's like biting into this most delicious apple.
That's my new favorite
Which
cider.
sucks your
Yeah,
cheeks in
no,
because
no,
it's got so much sourness.
It's my new
It's
favorite
tangy.
cider.
I mean, it's really just like this is uber crushable. This is
Uber crushable.
Uber
That's
crushable.
like two.
Hear that, Greg?
Did you get that, Greg?
Uber crushable.
Yes,
Two
yes,
sips.
yes. Yeah, the first two are really, ciders to really savor and to dig in on. They're the champagne-like
Yeah.
ciders. This is, crush it on a nice
Yeah,
day.
so my first impression, I thought there's maybe some more of that character, that yeasty character that I was talking about in the Normandy style, and it has that more the typical aromatics that I would expect from a more fresh cider. Kind of that, I don't know if that's malic.
It's got a great aroma. It comes from the Dolgo interface with the other apple cider, but
What's
it's different.
it has more apple flavor for me. The apple,
It's much more appley
yes.
than our
These are more
Yes.
refined, they have a cleaner taste.
That's what's unique about
Yeah,
classic heirloom ciders.
Right.
They're like champagnes.
Right.
They're not really appley.
right.
Especially if you buy the American sweet cider. Those smell like Granny Smith or like an apple candy that you'd get at the 7-Eleven.
Well, I hate to.
But this is, don't go there.
Okay.
So let's talk about this. So this is a different thing. And this is more appley, but it's the apple of the Dolgo coming through.
Yeah. Yeah,
And there's
you
almost
chew
some
on it.
spice to it.
If you chew on it, honestly, it's like eating an apple. It's really,
It's got the spices. It's the spice. It's the
Spice of
spice of
life.
a pie. It's the spicy
Yeah.
character of a pie, like that cinnamon and
Like cinnamon and nutmeg.
yeah. That's what it's actually there.
Now, are you creating that in
Maybe.
your brain?
Maybe.
Or there's I did not add any nutmeg or anything like that.
No,
No,
but
it's-
that
but
is
now that you say it, it's like in the aftertaste.
because that's when you taste an apple pie. This is like apple pie in a glass without the sweet and without the cinnation. But I'm sure.
But it
you're right.
does have
It's-
that spice.
Yeah.
But I think we're creating that
I think so.
in our
Yeah.
brain.
No, it's suggestion. I think that's true. Now, this has a nice creamy mouthfeel, so it suggests to me that it has a little bit higher sugar content.
It does.
Than the other two that we had.
It does.
It has
Those
to with all that.
those have
acidity.
0.
Yeah.
If you drank this with no added sugar,
Very good graphic. For those of you who don't know what that
that's
means,
right.
it means
That's
it's very
right.
acidic.
Yeah, it's very, very sour.
mouth
Yes.
puckery.
Yeah.
So anyway.
No, but this is really exciting. This is great because now, especially with Stone Mountain growing all these Dolgos, for those years where we really have a bumper crop and we have plenty of Dolgo to go after, we don't put it all into heirloom crabapple wine. We make
Now we can make a cider.
batch of cider.
Well, I love the process that you've invented on this, where you ferment these apples in a cider, and it's just all apple all the way around and mixing whole fruit in, which was sort of the thing that we changed in making apple wine, right?
Remember doing that with the trees from his backyard while he was hiking the Appalachian Trail with Gordon?
Yeah.
When you went down and hiked the
I still
trail
have some of that.
back in
I think.
2010, it's called the estate apple.
Yeah.
Yes, I
And
still
those-
have
Because
some.
those
we went
apples
over and we picked apples off of your trees.
they
Those
were
2
sour.
apples, they were sour.
Whoa.
But it made a good cider or wine,
Well,
apple wine, or
it
whatever we
aged
made
well.
out of it.
What's strange to us
It
is
aged
that the whole fruit thing is like, well, we didn't know, but like this stuff, you have to drink it right away. It never lasts. You can't age any of this stuff. It doesn't get better over time. And we've really had the opposite experience. I mean, even
You're like connecting a gear here in my brain.
I can see actually
yeah,
your
yeah, it is 12:30. So the reason the reason this stuff ages so well, I think, is because we do it as a whole fruit. We've got all the skin contact.
The tannins.
We've got all the tannins. We've got some of those bitter components, those antioxidants that are healthy for us and healthy for the beverage. It helps it live. That's why red wines will live so long.
Yeah.
They've got all those complex molecules in them to help that happen. That's. I think you're right. Most ciders fall apart, in a year or two. There's just not enough there. They take those apples, they grind them up, they squeeze off the juice, and they ferment it, like a white wine. You squeeze the Chardonnay grapes and make wine out of the juice.
Yeah, that's it.
But with a red wine, you crush those grapes and ferment everything. You've got the skins, you have the seeds, and all of that gets entrained into the liquid, and it lives longer. There are some anomalies to that. There are some white wines that go out for a long time, but
I've enjoyed some of our early ciders. They're different, but I shared one with you not too long ago, and I like the change. It's different. There's some unique character that comes with the aging fruit, but still tasty.
Yeah.
You get that bourbon barrel kind of character.
It gets that tawny, oxidized.
I like it.
Yeah,
I still enjoy it.
All right.
Next one.
Sorry for you. What's that?
15 minutes.
15 minutes? Thank you.
Oh,
For those
we got to do 3 in 15 minutes.
3 in 15 minutes.
For those of you at home, you can now open another bottle of cider.
So this is one that we started, I believe, 4 years ago.
That crabapple cider is so good. Sorry.
People at home are
This is one that we started about 4 years ago, and this is based on our love of blueberries and apples together.
I love blueberries.
That would be this one right here.
Wait, what?
What's amazing is, and this is fun with blueberries, is that they make a red wine, and they make a red cider. So,
Wait.
What? Wait,
Before you go, Marika had a great idea. We serve the cider that with a cinnamon sugar rim.
oh my God.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It's a fantastic way.
Oh yes, that would be great.
Good
that would be
idea.
great.
Oh.
So this
Look at the color of that.
This is a wonderful cider that's been very popular. Cheers, guys. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, Marika. So this is a really fascinating blend. So this is whole blueberries that we get from down East Maine, the same blueberries we use with Petite Blue, our Deep Blue, all of our red wines. And those are put into a fresh sweet cider that's made by Apple Hill, and those are co-fermented. And then it's filtered and carbonated like we do with the other ciders.
This is tasty. I get the character of Petite Blue in here.
Yeah, there's this complex mouth richness from the blueberry and a different type of tannic structure. There's a different feel on the tongue. There's a different follow to it. And this has been a work in progress. In the very beginning, I took some of our kittens and I blended it with Petite Blue. I literally combined those post-fermentation to make this wine. And then I gravitated and moved towards this process like we do now with the Cranberry Cider, with the Crabapple Cider, of taking the blueberries and fermenting them in the apple cider itself live. And I like the result. It seems more integrated, and I get a good balance from that. But this is the last vintage of this. Just so you know. It's a good vintage. We have quite a few cases of it, so it'll last through the summer. But it's being replaced by
I think it's time for a side-by-side.
Yes. So it's being replaced by something in a SodaStream plastic bottle, which will actually be in a bottle like this very soon.
With a new story.
with a new story. It's a great story too. I love we explained to her how this was created, and it's a completely different format. Good, Marika, you can do the side by side as well. So this is being carbonated, chilled and carbonated right now downstairs in the winery in preparation for bottling. It's going to be called Wild Blue. And instead of using apple cider as a base, there's no base at all. It's just wild blueberries. So this is a bit like our Deep Blue, but with Deep Blue, which is a dessert ruby port-like wine that's higher alcohol, very rich, great after dinner sort of sipping thing. This is pushing us towards the crushable range.
There it is again, Greg.
There it is, third time today. So this is taking the full concentrated little tiny wild blueberries and fermenting those and then carbonating it.
So it's officially, it's not actually a cider.
Well, we've talked about this.
Yes,
and it's
some debate.
If cider means that it must have apples, then no, this is not a cider.
Okay.
And the TTB has regulated this and the label says sparkling wine. It is a sparkling
So it's officially
wine.
not a cider, but we're gonna market it alongside our ciders because it really drinks like a
Because it's
cider.
so crushable.
It's a cider. It's a sparkling, light, low alcohol fruit.
Right. We could have done, it's a session, like a session
Session.
sparkling
How
wine.
about this? How about we put it out to our people watching the show, and let's come up with a word that describes what it is when you crush a blueberry and you make a crushable beverage from it. And that's not a cider. I mean, what is this? Can we make up a word? I mean, could this be, in this audience, be the foundation for a whole new word in the English language for something that's never been done before?
Now, these are being made in England and elsewhere in Europe.
What do they call it?
That's what I was going to ask you because you go over there.
Wine, that's-
So they take raspberries, they take blueberries, they take apricots, and they make
It's not what-
and they
it's
make
not
a
the
fermented
same thing.
beverage.
No.
That's not a wine.
It's all junk.
That's cider.
No. Go to Germany and get that fruit stuff. Forget it. No, this is a whole different ball of wax. This is like going up to the blueberry fields
right.
on Mount Desert Island in Maine and just gorging yourself on
blueberries.
blueberries in a liquid alcoholic form.
It's delicious. It's absolutely delicious.
This
So compare it to that.
So, to me, when we go side by side with these, the Wild Blue brings you the true blueberry experience. Just like you said, you're climbing Mount Desert Isle,
I've
or
said that
you're
before. I just made it up again for the second time.
you're eating blueberries. You're sitting, you're sow. You're plunking them in a little can. You're watching out for the bear or whatever, and it just reminds you of those things. But it's in a crushable alcoholic format for adults, not little kids.
I think we could take Marika's suggestion on this as well. With cinnamon and sugar on the
cinnamon
rim.
thing.
Blueberry pie.
A blueberry pie has cinnamon and sugar in it.
We just call it blueberry pie. We sell it that way. It's a mixed drink. It's a modified version of it. We do that in the
This
garden.
is far too sophisticated.
So
Cider ice cream.
with the apple cider, the blueberry apple cider, you get this sort of rich, it's almost like sweeter sort of character, not sweet and sticky, but not that.
I find it lighter. It's very similar, but it's lighter. The apples actually.
It is thinner. There's less mouthfeel to it.
Yeah.
They have about the same, back sweetening sort of character to them. They're on that balanced,
Yeah, they're about the same.
drier side. There's a little
It's
bit
tartar.
of a sour note that
It's
comes
tartar,
through.
sour, it's sour or tartness that comes through with the apple. It's not there with the blueberry. The blueberry is milder.
What I like about the blueberry as a cider, blueberry cider blend is that you
Which one are you talking about now? The wild blue, the pure blueberry?
No. The
You're talking
cider.
The cider.
Yeah.
with the
You
apples.
can't call Wild Blue cider.
Okay,
Right?
just making sure.
Yeah, so this one, I love the color, first off. That it's a cider like the rest of them that has this just beautiful color. It also brings in aromatically just what blueberries smell like. I mean, we smell a lot of blueberries around here, and they're kind of, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's what this smells like. And then in the cider with apples in it, you get the tannins, right? You get that little bit of dryness in the finish.
Did you switch your glasses?
No, in the finish. Well, this is what it adds to the apples. Is it inserts into a sweet cider that doesn't really have a lot going on as a matter of tannins. It has acidity, but it adds that blueberry skin tannic character to it, flavor and aromatics in a subtle way that really nicely augments the cider. I mean, it's a really nice product. The blue, wild blue, blank, non-cider. How about non-cider? That's my suggestion.
The uncider.
Uncider.
The uncider.
There we go. Uncider. How's that? The uncider.
Marketing's looking at him like, are you kidding me?
No, you can't have negative.
Just letting him finish.
The uncola.
Yeah, the uncider. You keep the chaos down on the internet.
I'm going to share. I'm going to share the label. So
Oh, that would be great.
so everybody,
You know,
this is what
I'm tasting these side by side, and I said this was the last vintage of this, but I don't know why would we do that.
Because of space. You have to understand, we have a teeny tiny building here in the middle of Meriden.
That is true. Okay, yeah, that
And
might be the last
tanks
vintage.
are
This-
filling
this,
every
I think, is-
square inch of it.
I think this is going to entail further discussion.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
they're different products, and
They are different.
they're both quite enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is extremely popular. Our existing blueberry cider.
Well, I
So-
think it's cruel and unusual that we can sit here and enjoy this uncider in front of our people.
So
Wild Blue.
Ken, when are the labels coming in on this one? This is the label. I'm sharing the label with everybody right now. Hermit Wild Blue Sparkling
This is-
Blueberry Wine.
Take a moment, everybody, if you can,
You-
when you see this, and read it.
I'm going to
because
read it to him right now. That's great. This is so much fun.
I love this.
So-
It's so great. She comes up with
How
these
much
things.
This is our Hermit. We have
5 minutes.
6 minutes.
Okay.
So we have Hermit Wild Blue Sparkling Wine. Neither I nor the berries take kindly attempts at cultivation.
Yes.
So I love that. On the back label, it continues, pruned this way, trimmed that way, lined up in rows, and pressured to conform. Some berries and some folks just say no.
Yep.
Wild Maine blueberries grow wherever they want. They sprawl across the barrens, mutating in thousands of varieties, getting more and more colorful and flavorful, which is why I put 2 pounds of these little oddballs into every bottle.
You put 2 pounds in there?
Yes, you did.
There's
It's a sneaky little hermit.
it's a sneaky hermit. Yeah.
So
There is a lot of blueberries in this wild blue. It's
So imagine if blueberries were good for you. And this is all cold fermented, never heated up.
Oh, it's
I like good
delicious.
stuff
yeah.
to stay
Yeah.
in there.
All the whole fruit, all the nutrients would become
All the-
more bioaccessible because they've been
It's
fermented.
like kombucha or
or
sauerkraut or something
sauerkraut.
like that. It
Exactly.
changes the chemistry.
Exactly.
Imagine if all that were
We're
actually
just
true in this.
we're like Popeye now.
Let's
okay.
get a bicycle.
It's a new version. Let's get a bicycle bill for 3. Matt, can you help us with that? Oh, I think he already has. That was a good segue.
Bicycle
Wow.
built for 3.
Nice.
There's a
to our
story
future.
coming to our future. We,
Yeah.
you thought we had some stories in the past. Wait till you discover some of our future stories.
You know, we say there's a story in every bottle. We have like a story every day. The stuff that goes
I
on.
wish I could find a picture from our extravaganza here, but I can't do that in.
You know, we
quick order.
probably have
only
three
4
minutes now, but well, we can
For
go
those-
over.
we have
one more
We
wine.
can go
We got one
over.
more wine to do
Yeah.
because for those of you who are doing a wine tasting, for those of those at home who purchased all these wines to join
So-
us,
So good point here. We're not doing any swirling.
No,
We're not
why
doing
are we
this.
not swirling?
That's I
Talk about
brought that up
That's
because
good.
this is a carbonated product, just like you don't want to swirl a champagne. Remember this? Those little bubbles are in there and they just explode.
They're swirling
and
for you.
They're swirling for
it's like
you.
auto swirling.
Auto
I
swirling.
love
That's
it.
what it
The less
is.
I have to do the
Yes.
better.
Gary Parker wants to know who the designated driver is. On the All right.
Don't ask questions like that, Gary.
So,
We sleep here.
so you
We're
get,
here all
you
the
get
time.
started
Don't you
here
worry.
on this next wine. I'm
Don't
going to
you
go
worry,
find
Gary.
us a
That's right.
picture for
We're
Matt
safe.
will appreciate this.
We're still here.
So let me see if I can pull this up. I think I can. Oh boy, look, he's just posted a fresh one. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Matt, we're going live. It's going to be public. Look, he's got
What's that? He's got the cans in
You're
there.
the best, Matt. I got to share this.
I love it. That's exactly how we're going to be traveling on that thing.
You bet. Here, I got to share
This
this.
is
You
great,
guys
you
are going to
guys.
love this.
So for you out there, may or may not know that one of the true deep loves
There it is.
of Bob and Chuck and I are riding bikes. We all are enthusiasts. He was a pro, and we just love riding bikes. So we thought years ago that one of the great adventures that we'd love to do. Did you just swirl your cider? Jesus. Was to ride bikes from the west coast of USA to the east coast of
We do
USA.
think that, yeah.
We'd do it as a fundraiser. It would be a lot of fun. And then we thought, why would we all be on separate bikes? Couldn't we just join up and be much more efficient, and ride a triple?
And there it is. And look what's in the water bottle holders. We got Petite Blue. We got some.
I love
Cranberry apple cider.
Cranberry apple cider
There it is.
right here.
Matt, you're the best.
Matt,
Thank you. I
unbelievable.
got a shout out to Matt. He
incredible.
drove to New Jersey yesterday.
Pennsylvania, I thought.
New Jersey.
Oh, New
To
Jersey?
pick this bike up for us, and we can't express enough how much we appreciate and thank you for that effort. That was just outstanding. I can't even wait to see this thing. Look at that thing.
It's gonna be so
And
much
who knew
fun.
that Santana, any manufacturer, made a bicycle go for 3?
Well, Matt knew, and he was
Matt knew,
on it.
yeah.
He heard about this adventure of ours,
I
and
had no idea.
he was
I was
on it.
I think he started building one for us. Remember?
He may have.
Yeah.
But I think this is the right way to go.
So what are we swirling and drinking now?
So
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
this
Again.
is our cranberry apple cider.
Wrong bottle.
And
Wrong bottle.
thank you, Marika.
Good thing we have
All
a
right.
live
We have
audience
a live
today.
audience.
Kitchen roads up.
So this is our cranberry apple cider. This came out for the first time. Oh, yes, it's in cans as
my-
well.
Oh my God.
Dangerous.
So
This is so dangerous.
I know.
This is, wait a minute. Is it
Crushable.
That's 3, Greg.
Did you get that, Greg?
This is really crushable. It is, it just embodies that whole aspect of good cider, and it is a product of using the whole fruit, whole cranberries, that are fermented in a sweet apple cider. The cranberries come from Massachusetts. At first, I was fermenting the whole fruit, and they would float on top. And there was a time when there was a person coming here to interview me for something, and I had set up a new batch of this, and it came on rapidly. We kept scaling up and doing different things. So I had one of these open totes down there, and I had just added the yeast or a yeast nutrient or something, and this guy came down to interview me, and the thing was foaming over, and cranberries were floating off and rolling across the floor. And he came down and said, well, maybe this isn't the best time. And I said, no, actually, just give me a few minutes and I'll be right up and we can talk about this. I've since changed my approach to dealing with these cranberries for 2 reasons. One, that I wasn't getting the full extraction out of the fruit during the fermentation process. And the damn things were floating all the time and wanting to run away from me. So I use a little apple grinder. And this is a thing that I chip up the cranberries into little pieces.
Frozen. Yeah.
So they're picked at their peak ripeness and they're frozen. And then I chip them up. I can use fewer cranberries to get the same intensity of fruit, without them floating to the top and running away from me.
And
So
this
that's what I
is a
do.
great opportunity for a shout out to our friend Greg Meany
Yes.
at Cold Garden Spirits.
Right.
If you haven't
Yes.
been there, great distillery down in Canterbury.
We bought his
He
apple grinder.
provided us the apple grinder that allowed us to make the cranberry cider like we're making
'Cause he
today.
scaled up.
Cheers to Greg.
Cheers to Greg.
Greg
Yeah.
Meany and Cold
Greg
Garden
does some
Spirits.
amazing things. That's a lot to Greg for introducing us to
Kiwis.
rose hips and kiwis
Yeah.
and quince and all sorts of things that he
A lot of
grows at his
inspiration.
place
Really.
and goes into his spirits.
Yep.
Which is great.
So
And
this is
this, you actually came up with the idea for this.
I did.
So yes. So there was a fall season in 2018, 2019, something like that. And I was coordinating getting cranberries and sweet cider and Kingston black apples. And those are all going together to make our Winnipesaukee Rosé.
Right.
And you said, why don't you just make like a cranberry cider?
I think I will remember that.
And I,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, well, I've already bought all this stuff, Bob, and I'm going to put together rosé and all this stuff. But of course, that little thing would start turning away. I'm like, well, that would probably be pretty good. And so you came up with this idea for this cranberry cider.
That's
Yeah,
great. I'm glad I did. I didn't
well
know
done.
it,
Yeah,
but
well done, Bob.
I'll take it. That's great. This has become. I think we sell, just ounce for ounce, probably more ounces of this than anything else we make. This is sold all over New Hampshire. It's in the liquor
The state
store.
liquor store,
It's
when they're top 1,200
it's
in one
of the
year.
Top
we
100 in a year. Yeah. It's because it's so what?
crushable, and it's in cans.
Hands.
So yeah, if you haven't tried our cranberry cider, you should, along with all the other wonderful ciders that we've.
Well,
had
that's
here
what's
today.
fun. I mean, I think people out there have come to expect that almost, and I expected that we continue to create and craft new and interesting things that have the same sort of balance and crushability and various aspects that make our products what they are.
Well, I love that the fundamental inspiration is taking what's here and being good Yankees and figuring out how to make something new, the stuff that's been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, and bring it to the public in a way that's just a great experience and unique to us and unique to this area. And I mean, that's a great thing.
It
to
is
people.
the focus that it needs to come from around here.
And what's amazing is what you're talking about was occurring in the 1900s, the late 1800s, 1900s. People were making
All this stuff.
this stuff out of what was here.
A wide variety.
And
of
when
different things.
prohibition came in the early 1900s, it just killed all the small producers. Everybody that was doing anything creative just went away.
Right.
And we turned the alcohol industry into a handful of powerhouses that produced the
survived.
beer and the cider and the wine for the world. And the rest of the small producers went away.
But we're back up to that level now.
Finally, after
We've got
100
so much.
years, we're there. We're back to the place we were at when prohibition
This
shut it all
country's
down.
this country's on fire. I mean, there's so many great meaderies and
Oh, it's
cideries and
fantastic.
craft breweries and distilleries and it's just
It's going to be
amazing.
impossible to get to the
great
Eastern wine
time to
exposition.
drink. It is such an awesome.
If we ride that bicycle for free from California
Oh my
to here and
God.
stop at every
Think of all the breweries
winery,
and wineries and
distillery.
distilleries.
Who's steering? Who's steering?
Well,
I can pedal.
Look at that. We're
But-
going to have 8,000 stops. It's going to take us
That's a
2
big
years.
trailer on the back, a big cooler on the back end of it.
I love that this is happening all over the country and that we're a part of this, what it's like to be here.
It is
doing
fun
what
that
we do. It's great.
that we took it from the backyard to this
Yeah.
to other people this way, which is great. A lot
So
of fun.
so this has been an exciting episode. We have introduced all of our ciders. We've introduced our triple bike, which is going to
doesn't have water bottle holders. It has can
holders and is going to ensure some new adventures to share in the future, maybe even live.
We're gonna keep that over. We're gonna keep that over at the garden, right? The bike, so we can go out for rides.
Sure, absolutely.
Shouldn't we keep it right out there?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it should be right there at the garden.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the garden?
Breathalyzer
The garden right across the
Do you
street.
need a? Is it
Beer and wine
illegal?
garden.
Is it illegal to
beer
ride a
and wine
bike with
garden across the
alcohol?
street.
12:30.
There's a beer and wine garden across the street.
There's a beer and wine
Thank
garden
you.
across the street.
What?
Hello.
Where's the marketing
Hello.
guy? Where is he? Come on. So
Wait a minute. Next door to here,
next door to here,
there's a place to put a bicycle.
Right
there's
over
beer
there.
and wine.
Right
Yes.
over there. Yeah.
Oh, only if there was food.
and guess what else?
Oh, there's food.
Wine slushies.
Wine slushy.
Wine slushies.
Not here.
Not here.
Yes.
No, we're not gonna have them
And
here.
what will we make wine
Did you hear that?
slushies of?
Crabapple wine slushies.
Oh, you got
Strawberry rhubarb wine slushies.
everybody tune
Northern
out.
Berry Red.
Go somewhere else. Find something else to do, because if you have a crabapple wine slushy, your life is going to change, and you're just going to be living across the street in a tent, waiting for the slushy machine to open up every day.
So the
that
bottom
right?
line
Yeah.
is,
Is that what you
It's gonna
think?
be so good.
Wow.
Kidding me? The
I
summer.
remember how he was so
80
against slushy
80
machines.
degrees.
I know he
Too
was,
long
but it's
ago.
I don't
right over
want-
there. It's with
no,
the
I
it's
don't
with the
want wine
barbecue.
slushy
It's with
here.
the food trucks.
I want
Barbecue.
a wine slushy with the food trucks.
Ah.
So you know what I'm looking forward to?
What?
I'm looking forward to fresh shucked oysters with a glass of Lake House White.
Oh,
Wait a minute,
because
that's
we're
what
gonna
I'm
have
looking
fresh shucked oysters across the street too.
Yes.
Bring it on.
So across the street, starting Memorial Day weekend, right, Marika?
Hopefully.
Oh, she's still in the hopefully mode. Uh-oh.
Yes.
Oh,
Memorial Day weekend.
yes.
Yes.
That was a yes.
That was a yes.
That was a yes.
Memorial Day weekend.
That's right.
We are going to have what is it? What's the name of our food truck?
Angry Hog.
Angry Hog
Yes.
Barbecue. For the next, he's going to be there for the next 6 months, and we're going to have an oyster shucker, hopefully on some days. We're going to promote all that, and we're going to have a bar where we can serve our beer and our wine.
And a triple bike.
And it's not our beer; it's the beer from all the local brewers.
Right. Twin Barns.
Twin Barns will be there. Yeah, we'll have lots of local beers, and our triple bike.
And our triple bike.
Yeah. So join us. There'll be picnic tables out there. We're going to have some live music. It's going to be a really fun corner
This
to be
starts
on.
on Saturday.
Start Memorial Day weekend.
On Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, I think. Friday.
I think probably Friday Memorial Day.
Friday, Memorial Day weekend.
Friday.
Says
Yeah.
Marika.
Memorial.
It's
We'll be there.
happening now. It's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah.
We
It's
better get it done, Marika. We got to do it.
It's happening.
Do we have a license to do all that?
I think so. Yeah, sure.
Pretty
We
cool.
do.
Sure.
Yes. Yes, we do.
You know.
And upstairs.
What? I know.
Upstairs.
Occupancy permit coming.
We're getting it this week. Yes.
Finally.
Finally. We're going to have our occupancy.
Big
So
doings.
it's big doings. This is going to be a
Big
wild ride this summer.
Yeah. The next 2 weeks are going to be wild. Even without getting on that triple, it's going to be a hell of a ride.
Geraldine's voting for a 3 honey slushy. No, oh no.
I love it.
Of course.
How about a 300 martini?
And Matt says he's still building another bike, a three. He's going to do it.
Really? I thought Matt
$10.
had started that.
He did. I think he did.
Yeah.
He alluded to the fact that he did. So I guess he
Wow.
did. I'm excited.
Wow,
So
what just happened?
we're,
I don't know.
we're
What
10
just
minutes
happened?
over.
10 minutes over.
Yeah, that's what just happened.
That's what just happened. We imagine what cider does to you. So this has been fun. This has been great. Everybody, thank you so much
Thank you all.
for going on this ride with us. Ride.
Right.
This is more than a triple.
Oh! Facebook Live from the triple.
I'm thinking
We need
yeah,
to do a
absolutely.
Facebook Live
You
from
can-
the triple.
You can
We're going to
absolutely
be
count
riding.
on
We're
it.
going to be riding around town, just like remember we went up Mount Washington, and he's filming us on the motorcycles from up above while he's riding on the cliff.
Just clip it to your front handlebars.
We got this.
Yeah.
we got this.
He's
We are
got this.
going
He can
live
do this,
from,
yeah.
from the triple soon.
We're going to go live from the triple.
Do you hear that, Matt? We're going live from the triple.
And you know what's going to be in the water bottle cages?
Of course I know.
What we're tasting on the ride.
Absolutely.
That's going to be it. It's going to be the 4 cans.
Well, just to figure out where we're going.
Dolgo.
There's a
That's
little
different
bit. There's a
now.
little bit of state law problem with this idea, gentlemen.
Oh boy. Chuck, oh, wow. You've been the wild man here. Now all of a sudden he's bringing the law. Here, turn him off. He's done. He's off. I shut him down.
Exactly. This is it. We will only consume our can holders on private property in outside of
Details. We'll figure all this out. Don't worry. We're
be
going to
fine.
be fine. We'll be fine.
We're always
We'll be
fine.
fine. Yeah.
So, folks, thank you again for joining us on this wild ride. Two things. Next Monday, we still have not announced our event, which is no surprise to most of you.
Aren't you
because
going
we
to
know-
Vermont?
No, that's not next Monday. That's the
That's
Monday after.
Oh.
Because there's 5 Mondays in May.
Oh,
Wow.
It's a lot of
That's
Mondays.
great.
that is great.
That's great. That's lots of drinking
So,
together.
Yeah. So next
Next
week,
five
Mondays.
we're going to be back with maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see what Matt,
Yeah,
what the
that's
schedule
next
is.
Monday.
To triple?
Triple.
All right. We'll see. Next Monday,
We'll
stay tuned. We'll be here. And the Monday after, so exciting.
That's when you're going to.
We're going to go, and I'm going to make the trek over to Fortuna Sausage, which is the maker of all of those great sausages that we have in our winery. We're going to interview the founder, Patty Fortuna, who started this company 20 or 30 years ago, and we're going to learn more about Fortuna Sausage. It's Manchester, Vermont. So we're going to be going live from Manchester, Vermont next in 2 weeks on Monday the 31st. Wow, May 31st. So that should be interesting. So hopefully you can join us for that. There is a schedule for all of our upcoming events. Some of them stay to be announced.
TBD.
Or to be determined,
Yes.
something like that.
Wait a minute, is that Memorial Weekend?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
It's Monday.
Monday.
Monday night.
Monday's the holiday, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to go to Vermont.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marika, you're in charge.
We got a great team here. We don't
Oh, yeah, the team is
No problem.
fantastic. Yes.
So anyway, thank you so much again for joining us. We look forward to having you for yet another Monday evening coming up.
5 this month. I just
5 this
learned.
month.
Wow.
So we will see you all soon.
Thank you all. Thanks very much.